I have enjoyed so much, and I hope there's a lot more enjoyment coming, watching Colgate play.
Yeah.
And what a championship in the Patriot League that Colgate was able to put together. Head coach Matt Langel standing by on the line right now. Coach, good morning and congratulations.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much.
I want to tell you something. I was watching very carefully, and you were struggling in the last couple minutes of that game. You were beginning to tear up. How emotional was that? I'm just telling you.
The most emotional part for me, in all honesty, was right down the stretch there, the last few seconds when I saw the emotion from our players.
Yeah.
I mean, just to the two captains, a junior and senior, embrace. Their eyes well up, and this age group of men, young men, they don't get that emotional that often. You don't see them cry, and you see them complain and get angry and a lot of other emotions, but you don't see those just overwhelming tears of joy stream down their face. And so for me, as a coach, there's really nothing more special than that, to see them kind of making those memories and having those experiences and achieving their dreams. It's really special.
I want to stay just on a couple of other things that my observations. When we talked the other day, you had said you really tried to rile up the fans because, it's spring break week and the students weren't around. So, you're on CBS Sports and this is an opportunity, but, everybody's sitting on their hands and nobody's really doing anything. But I got to tell you, whatever you did, you got that community going because they came in, painted up. It got so crazy at some point, the players from Bucknell were complaining to the refs because the fans behind under the basket were too rowdy. I mean, you got them going.
Yeah, I got to give a lot of credit to the Hamilton Central School, and they had some kids. It's a really small school, and 6th grade through 12th grade all meets every morning in like an assembly type atmosphere, and I was able to go in and talk to them a little bit, and they showed up for the semifinal game, and then they doubled down on their efforts in the championship game, and they came in costume, and they were fantastic. I'm sure people across the country watching like you think geez, those Colgate students look awfully young, but I got to give a lot of credit to the close-knit community that we have. We have a great academic institution that, as a small liberal arts school is really unique. But then, you partner that with the small community of the village of Hamilton, and it really makes for something special.
All right, we'll talk a little basketball here.
Yes. How much of your success do you attribute to your assistant coach, Mr. Pat Moore, who is a Utica Notre Dame graduate and a former player of yours?
A lot, and I think the message, because it's such a huge part of our program, is what Pat preaches to the guys, that he was a part of this thing when he won 7 games as his freshman year and 8 games in what was my first year, and so it's never a flash in a pan. We've been able to build this program on solid ground, and it's been a journey and a process. And so he was on a team that finished in 2nd place and got us, to the semifinals. And now he's come back and joined our staff. And I think anytime that, you're able to have a young assistant coach who played for the head coach, it speaks to the value of how much that individual cares about the program. And so I'm super proud that we've been able to have him back as an assistant coach. Again, he knows what those kids go through every single day in the classroom, in the dorms, at the dining hall. He knows what their life is like, and I think he adds great value and perspective to what they're trying to get done.
Coach, as you sit here this morning, we'll find out Sunday, but is your thought you would be in a play-in game, or that you would get a number 1 seed when the bracket actually begins? And do you have a preference on what type of a team you play based on your style?
I'm originally from Philadelphia, so I've grown up on Joe Lunardi and bracketology, although I am not a bracketologist myself. We've got a couple people on our staff who are a little bit more invested. I think some of the upsets here in conference tournaments, if you look at the net ratings and the Ken Palm ratings and all those things, what they've told me is I think we're probably secure that we won't be in a play-in game, and likely that we would also not be a 16 seed to get a number 1. So,
wow.
Depending on how some of these others shake out, I think we probably are looking at a 15 or even maybe a 14 if some more upsets happen. So,
Hey, now.
I got to tell
the
you,
truth of the matter is, you're going to play a really good team, and you know that whether it's a top 5 team in the country or a top 10 team in the country, you're going to play one of those. So you just kind of got to figure out what it is and what their strengths are, and obviously, you know, we've got a pretty decent sized front line, but when you're playing a team like that, they're going to have some more athleticism, and so you're going to have to, you know, mix up your defenses and try and find a way to manage the game to be competitive. I
got to tell you, one last question. What's it like? Because your Colgate is being talked about, and this is the time of year where everybody's talking about, they're all predicting. And when you say maybe a 15, maybe a 14, people out there are saying, watch this Colgate team. They can cause some trouble in this tournament. That's got to make you feel pretty good.
Yeah, it does, and I think the reason for that is legitimate in that, you know, we do have, you know, our player of the year for the Patriot League, Raplis Evanauskas, is a transfer from Northwestern, so he's our power forward. So we have 2 senior centers, and then he goes, you know, 6'9" as a forward. Will Raymond is every bit of 6'7" as our small forward. So we've got some legitimate size. So I think that has something to do with it. And then we've been very effective at shooting the 3-point shot. We've got, you know, 3 or 4 guys on the court at all times who can stretch the floor and make a shot. And everybody who watches basketball at this time of the year knows that March Madness, if a team can get hot, and, you know, make a bunch of threes in a flurry, then anything can happen. So I think that's probably why people are saying, hey, this team could be a group that could make a little bit of noise.
Coach, this has been a lot of fun, and the fun is not over. We wish you the best. We can't wait to see where you end up. And a big day coming up on Sunday. Thanks for the time.
Oh, thanks for having me.
All right, Coach Matt Langel. Keep an eye on Colgate this weekend.